Hello, everybody. Michelle is here. Michelle is here on December 10th, 2025, as the year is winding down. I wasn't sure how to start this video out because I do everything in my power to explain things from the ground up, where all levels of people, regardless of your modality, you can understand me. Okay, and you can relate if you choose to. Everything is a choice. So I've been, I pay attention to people. I pay attention to people. I pay attention to trends. I pay attention to the cause and effects. I pay attention to how energy flows in our words, in our body language, mostly in our patterns and behaviors and actions. It's similar to what artificial intelligence is claiming to do, and I'll explain that at the right time. This may be a couple of videos. That's why I'm so thankful of the video collection that I have. I have over thousands of videos, and they do explain things from the ground up. So that's in my favor. Now, I'm not that concerned. I'm gonna keep making that clear about who's listening to me, who's following me, and who's liking me, because that is irrelevant, and that's going to expose itself as well in the distant future or in the near future. Who knows? Like I said, be genuine from the beginning so you don't get yourself wrapped up and caught up in all of this exposure that's happening, where people are getting themselves exposed because what do they say? Video don't lie. Well, that's not true. But you cannot fool your consciousness. That's one thing. And it's a form of energy, whereas you can lie until the cows come home, and then the cows go back out and come back again. You can't fool your consciousness. So that's where you're going to have to answer to, is to your consciousness. And especially, and we all going to have to answer collectively, because we collectively cause these effects that we're all experiencing right now, which is just the tip of the iceberg, by the way. It's just more people are starting to wake up and realize, oh my goodness, they're living in the effects of things. Whereas they have been unconscious for so long, whether intentionally or not, they're starting to wake up, and that's evolution, number one. And I put out many videos about how we kind of navigated our way into the internet. We didn't know the internet was coming. Did we? No, we didn't. Maybe certain hidden hands knew it was coming, but no one knows the effects of things until we're in it. The same thing with artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been around just as long as the internet, but for some reason, we have to take more than just baby steps. We have to really kind of, like I said, go from the ground up with a lot of people because of the indoctrination, okay, because of the neglect, and more so because of the underdeveloped consciousness. Most of us are experiencing an underdeveloped consciousness, and it is rearing its head now. We're, like I said, we are in the effects of it. We have a dictator government, which we had a dictator government 20, 30, 40 years ago, but it was easily concealed. Do the work, do the research, do the math. But now everything is raising its ugly head, so to speak, and we are in the effects, yes. We're in the consequences, yes. And so we're in another phase of our underdeveloped, the criminal negative energy aspects of our underdevelopment, whereas we cannot determine what's real and what's not. And that's not only on the social media platforms, the internet, but in our genuine bona fide realities. A lot of people want to believe we're in a matrix. A lot of people want to just dismiss their accountabilities and responsibilities and say, "Oh yeah, we're in a matrix. We're in a simulation. What we are experiencing is not real." That's coward behavior. because you don't want to take responsibility and accountability. So let's blame it on this and that and the other. And then I talked about the dawning of the age of Aquarius, February 3rd, 2029. And of course, all the mystics are coming out, the esoterics, the cult leaders, cult members, the religious doctrinations, the religious dogmas all over the world, or attempting to put meaning to all of this. And you have billions and billions of people on the social media platforms attempting to put meaning to things, put meaning to consciousness, psyche. You know, all of these terms that we've become comfortable with having. You know, a lot of people have these labels. I mean, not millions, but possibly. You never know. They have all of these labels, you know, describing themselves. And I pick up on that. I listen to people when they do that, because that tells me that they're just unconscious still. They're still, you know, kind of trapped in this self-created. It's a self-created, man-made black hole. And they start naming these symptoms of themselves, and some people are just proud to have it. They don't want you to dare take away their abilities to capitalize, because that's what everything has turned into, a commodity. They don't want anybody to capitalize on taking away their ability, you know, to capitalize and you know, seek the so-called financial benefits of their labels. Do not try to take that away from them. I remember once time I was on a social media platform, and I happened to just decided to listen in on this group. I stayed in the group for months at a time, because that's what I do usually. I'll stay in the group for months at a time, possibly longer, to pick up the rhythm, pick up the flow, the sounds and tones of that group, in order to see if I actually resonate. And of course, I found out I didn't. But I realized, you know, once I started questioning some people about, okay, so why is it so important that you call yourself this? Why is it so important that you call yourself that? And that caused a firestorm, honey. There was one person that just kept following me and following me, wanting me to answer that question. You know, why am I questioning the fact that they call themselves this, that, or the other? It was a self-diagnosis, which is, hey, do what you want to do. But when someone comes along and questions, okay, why are you attaching yourself to that label? What's the benefit of that? And is it true? The main question is it true? Are you that person? Or is it bringing you attention, good, bad, or ugly? But because right now what's happening, people are capitalizing on criminal negative energy more so than positive. Because criminal negative energy will get you the attention. Okay? This one person I was talking to, they mentioned a term. I'm not going to say it because they're probably listening and they'll know, you know. And I'm not trying to expose anybody. I just want to do the best I can to help someone to think for themselves, number one, and see if they can figure things out without necessarily being attached to a label. See if you can suspend all of that. I've said this many times before. Suspend the fact that you call yourself this. Suspend the fact that you call yourself that. And see what you come up with. Okay? And see if you can love that person that you come up with once you release all of those labels. See how much, you know, love can flow through you. Because the love is there. As I put out a video the other day, you have internal happiness, joy. You have all of that. It's internal. It came with the package. It came with the package of you. You have to activate it, cultivate it, you know, bake it. You know, bake that cake that's you already have the ingredients inside of you. So this person mentioned a term, and let me see if I can find another word to use so that they don't think I'm talking about them. I'm not talking about them. But anyway, I won't worry about it right now. I'll do everything I can to explain things, like I said, from the bottom up. And like I said, it may take a couple of videos because now we are saturated with effects of things in all walks of our lives. Whether, like I said, whether it's online, offline, but more so in our reality. A lot of people are just not grounded. They are in this self-created, self-imposed psychosis of their consciousness, where they have no idea what is real and what's not. And a lot of them are believing that they are fooling everybody else, which they probably are. There's so many of them that are. They're fooling everybody else. They'll fool me. They know how to manipulate, deceive their personality expressions, and know how to deceive and manipulate people, because that's what we are. We are invading others' space of reality and creating these illusions of who we think we are, what we think we are. And a lot of it is it's intentional, criminal, negative behaviors and actions, especially with indoctrination, manipulation, deception, where people can and someone said this to me one time too. Let me just say this. One time I was at an event somewhere, and I was having a great time at that event. I thought the energy, okay, let me put it this way. I felt the energy. I felt negative energy, positive energy. But I am able to neutralize that, because that's everywhere. Everywhere you go, you're going to have criminal, negative energy as well as neutral, positive energy. That is the flow of evolution. That's the flow of development. You're going to have that. It's just what you want to tune into. Sounds and tones. What do you want to tune into? Okay, you want to tune into the criminal negative energy? You have free will to do so. Okay? But I remember I was at this event and I was having a great time. Not really a great time, because I'm kind of over those kind of that kind of environment, because I do pick up superficiality, and I do pick up anxiety with people. I can tell when people are experiencing some level of anxiety, and then just not comfortable in their own skin. Okay, and I can remember. I mean, I was having a good time, because I felt like because I was socializing for the most part, and I was doing everything in my power to be positive and neutral. But that criminal negative energy is heavy. Just like when someone's claiming that they're, I shouldn't say they claim, when people put these labels on themselves, I'm not going to say the words, because that causes activation of people to bring that up inside of them, even if they're not experiencing that. And that's where we are. We're in this, we've created a matrix that never ever existed. How about that? We created a simulation that never ever existed. We are creating those type of realities, okay? And that's how we got ourselves saturated and encased in criminal negative energy, because people are cultivating those type of energies in their thoughts. They're creating this. We're creating this, and unfortunately, we are tied together collectively. Sure, there's going to be individuals like myself, okay, they're going to be able to navigate out of it. But because our population is massive, the only way to escape, so to speak, is it's going to require help. And you have to think that through and ask yourself, what the hell does she mean? It's going to require help. It's going to require help. Okay. So I can remember, like I said, I was at that event. I was enjoying myself. I thought people were socializing properly. Everything was, the scenery was beautiful. The lighting was beautiful. There were beautiful people there. And I can remember this person saying that, I know how to pretend that I'm having a good time. I know how to pretend that I'm happy, and that's what I'm saying. We know how to put on a performance. We know how to pretend. So why do you think we have these fake videos out there? We have billions and billions of people online faking and lying. They get on, and I'm in that group. I'm part of the collective. Okay. So how do you know when someone's telling you the truth? It requires deep discernment. So, but I'm going to stop right now because I got an appointment, and I'm going to come back and talk about this a little bit more deeper because this is important. My goodness, we are on the verge of a collapse unlike anything we've ever experienced in our lives. So I'm going to go ahead and stop for now, but trust me, I will be back.